Welcome, everybody. Welcome. We're having a discussion today. This is a topic that's come up in our community for years now. If you're new to this channel, thank you so much for being here. My name is Athena. I've been showing up online and volunteering and just reaching out and connecting with other adult survivors of childhood trauma for about 4 years now. That was when we started this channel, and we've been showing up every week for about 4 years. It's wonderful to have you. If you're new here, please subscribe to the channel. Consider subscribing to the channel. And once we are done having this discussion, or throughout the video at some point, if this is helpful for you, it would mean so much to me if you would consider giving this video a thumbs up. Any thumbs up you give any of the videos on this channel help other childhood abuse and childhood trauma survivors find these videos, and these videos give them hope. I've been receiving emails from our community for about 4 years now, and they range from a very simple thanks or thank you to I was on the verge of suicide and I found your channel and it's because of you that I'm still alive. So anywhere in between. And it's a humbling experience to receive an email like that. So the way they found this channel is by people like you who are watching this video, and you decided to give the video a thumbs up, and the video gets recommended in other people's feeds. So again, if you're new, welcome. If you've been here for 4 years, thank you so much for being here. And thank you for subscribing to the channel and considering giving this video a thumbs up. So we're having a discussion today on difficulty relaxing. Why do I have difficulty relaxing? And the way we're going to have this discussion today is simply by thinking about and discussing the cycle of abuse. And for the next several minutes, however long this video lasts, we will be discussing the neurobiological implications of when something happens in our body over and over and over and over and over again. It's important to remember that our subconscious finds a rhythm or a pattern. Our brain is consistently making neural pathways. And so if we experience something over and over and over and over again, our body decides and understands that that is the norm. That is something that it's used to experiencing, and it's a cycle. And we develop muscle memory, if you will, around certain experiences. So we're going to talk about the abuse cycle. We're going to talk about the pattern in the abuse cycle and how that connects to why we might have difficulty relaxing. So thank you so much for being here. I'm hoping you can see these slides okay. So another way that I receive the question is, why do I have difficulty feeling calm? Whenever I feel calm, it triggers a feeling of anxiety. Why is that, Athena? So, and yet another way we receive the question is, how come whenever I have a day off or time to myself, I feel anxious or nervous or fearful? And it is something that causes us to be curious and sometimes feel hopeless or even more anxious because we don't have an answer as to why it is we're feeling this way. So let's talk about the abuse cycle. Think about the word cycle. Wikipedia and online dictionary give us the definition of cycle as a series of events that are regularly repeated in the same order. A series of events repeated in the same order. So think about that. If the cycle of abuse really is a cycle, then every single aspect of our abuse was perpetrated in the same order, over and over. And perhaps we get to interrupt the pattern, right? We get to interrupt the pattern in our life. And the way we interrupt the pattern in our life is by looking at the abuse cycle, looking at the way it shows up in our life, and finding ways to help us in our subconscious, in our bodies, in our minds, in our whole being, feel worthy and feel safe. We interrupt the pattern and we find ways to feel worthy and feel safe. Over and over and over again is something that our minds begin to memorize and expect. So if that is the case, right, over and over and over again, and our minds and our bodies begin to expect the same thing over and over again, then we're going to look at ways that we can interrupt the pattern, okay? And we're going to use, as a visual example of the abuse cycle, we're going to be using the clock, just a typical average clock as our example for how we discuss the abuse cycle. So a clock, 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock, right? Just a clock, an average clock. 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. So using this clock as our example for the abuse cycle, abuse of one or many kinds, let's just say the abuse happens at 12 o'clock, at the top of the hour. Now, I don't mean we were abused at 12 o'clock midnight or 12 o'clock noon. We're using the clock as a metaphor, remember? 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Those are the 4 times, or the 4 aspects of the abuse cycle we're going to talk about. 12 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 3 o'clock. So we're gonna start at 12 o'clock and we're gonna make our way down. 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. All right? So abuse happens. We're gonna look at four aspects of the abuse cycle. And we're gonna use the clock. So let's say the abuse happens at 12 o'clock, right? Then we're gonna move down to 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 9 o'clock. All right? So the abuse of any kind, physical abuse, emotional abuse, verbal abuse, psychological abuse, sexual abuse, ritual abuse, cult abuse, financial abuse, any type of abuse. Let's just say, using the clock as a metaphor, that the abuse happens at 12 o'clock. At 3 o'clock, the second tick on the abuse cycle, this is when we have reconciliation attempts. The abuser, now if this is family of origin, if this is an intimate partner, I'm talking about, on this channel we talk a lot about ongoing, prolonged childhood trauma. So this is abuse that you endured while you were a child at the hands of an adult. Could have been at the hands of a young adult, teenager, or another child. But typically on this channel we refer a lot to childhood abuse, prolonged childhood trauma at the hands of an adult. So if the abuse happened at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, that's when reconciliation attempts happen. There's fake apologies, but we don't know they're fake, right? Because we're children. There's gaslighting or manipulation, history, revision. They begin to backpedal or they downplay all that happened. They minimize what it was that went down. That happens at 3 o'clock. Now we're moving on to 6 o'clock. This is when we experience a sense of calm, right? You clicked on this video, you're watching this because you have difficulty relaxing or you feel anxious when you would like to feel calm. So at 6 o'clock, now remember, 3 o'clock is when all the gaslighting and manipulation and backpedaling and minimization starts. The abuse just happened at 12 o'clock. That could have been a day ago, a week ago, however. 3 o'clock is when all of the The minimization and downplaying and fake apologies and backpedaling and all that happened. Now we're at 6 o'clock. Where there's a sense of calm. There's a reprieve. It's the honeymoon period. This is all signified by a lack of abuse. And that happens at 6 o'clock. Now at 9 o'clock, tension is building. There's mixed messages being given to you. You're walking on eggshells. You feel as though that you could do something wrong at any moment, or you could wake the beast. You're trying to be very, very careful. You're walking on eggshells. You're trying to make sure that it doesn't happen again, right? So think about the implications of this. Let's go back. The abuse happened. Then the fake apologies, the gaslighting, the psychological warfare, the backpedaling, the minimization. It's all very confusing. Then there's the calm, and you're so grateful. You're like, this is the last time it's going to happen. It's going to be different this time. It's going to be different this time. I know it. They really sound like they're sorry this time. They're not abusing me. It's actually really nice. We're actually getting along. We're laughing. I'm not getting in trouble. It's wonderful. There's nothing bad going on right now. I'm calm. And then boom, all of a sudden the tension is building again. It's as though we let our guard down here at 6 o'clock. And now we're paying for it because the tension's building. We're walking on eggshells. We're receiving mixed messages. We're not sure. We thought that everything was great. We thought that was the last time it was ever going to happen. But now we know that that's not true. We're really feeling like we could do anything wrong at any given moment, and that's going to be the trigger that causes them to freak out or be abusive all over again, right? And that's at 9 o'clock. Now think about the implications of that cycle. Think about how the whole thing played out. Whenever you were feeling calm, right? That's why you clicked on this video. You have difficulty relaxing, you're struggling to feel calm, or you feel anxious when you would like to feel calm. So whenever you were feeling calm back when the abuse was happening, it was followed by walking on eggshells and tension and mixed messages and feeling as though that you could do something wrong at any moment or wake the beast and then get abused all over again. And then the eggshells and the tension, guess what happens after that? Yep, you guessed it, more abuse, because it's a cycle. So hopefully this helps you understand why you feel anxious when you have extra time on your hands, when you would prefer to feel calm. It does make sense if you look at it as though it's a cycle. It's muscle memory. The abuse happens at 12 o'clock. Then there's backpedaling and apologizing going on at 3 o'clock. Then at 6 o'clock, finally, that was the last time it's ever going to happen. Finally, it's going to be peaceful. Everything's worked out. They've said they're sorry. It's all wonderful. Then 9 o'clock, you're walking on eggshells. You're anxious. You're terrified. And then what comes after that? More abuse. The psychological implications of that, the neurobiological implications of that, are that we have an automatic setting, our default setting. If this happened over a prolonged period of time during childhood, whenever we feel calm, our mind and our body are preparing us to walk on eggshells and then be abused again. So we're going to be continuing this discussion during this series titled, Why Do I Have Difficulty Relaxing? And you'll be welcome to view these videos anytime. If you would like free access to this series on difficulty relaxing, why do I struggle to feel calm, simply send an email to info@cptsdfoundation.org, and in the subject line, put the words difficulty relaxing. And if you would like to participate in discussions like this every single day, 365 days a year, go to my website, cptsdfoundation.org, and click on daily calls because we are worth it.